Structural repair parts, things like bumper reinforcement beams, bumper brackets, radiator core supports, and bumper absorbers, have been a significant factor in the collision repair industry for many years. They affect a vehicle's damageability and repairability and the performance of the vehicle's safety systems in the event of a collision. And with the greater use of high-strength and ultra-high-strength steels in today's cars and trucks, using the right parts is even more important in helping to restore a damaged vehicle's ability to provide the intended level of protection in a crash. Hi, I'm Larry Cohen, repairability engineer for Ford Motor Company, and when questions arose recently about the possible inferiority of some aftermarket copy structural repair parts, Ford decided to take a closer look, including conducting our own version of the now popular saw test comparison on aftermarket and genuine Ford bumper beams, with very similar results. Concerned about how these specific new aftermarket parts may perform with all the components of the vehicle safety systems to deliver the intended level of protection, we then initiated a more ambitious testing program, ordering several aftermarket copy versions of parts for popular vehicles, including Mustang and Focus bumper beams, F-150 bumper brackets and radiator supports, and Mustang bumper absorbers and isolators. Part construction, weight, and thickness comparisons revealed significant differences between the aftermarket copies tested and genuine Ford structural parts. For example, Ford uses magnesium to make the radiator support for the 2004 through 07 F-150, while the copy part we tested used molded plastic with sheet metal pop riveted to it. Ford engineers consider this a critical difference because one of the vehicle's airbag sensors is mounted to the hood latch support bracket, which is mounted to the radiator support. Another example is the front bumper beam for the 2005 through 09 Mustang. The copy part tested used mild steel with a two-piece spot-welded construction, while the genuine Ford beam uses one piece of ultra-high-strength boron steel with a full-seam TIG weld down the middle and stiffening beads along both edges. We then took those parts to our central labs to determine their material composition. Armed with the material composition and dimensional scans of the aftermarket copy parts, the copy Mustang front bumper beam was subjected to computer-aided engineering simulated crash tests at 8 and 12 miles per hour, but failed to meet Ford's specifications in each case. The aftermarket radiator support was put through 4 computer crash simulations ranging from 8 to 35 miles per hour, and in each instance, acceleration and time shifts in comparison to the performance of the genuine Ford part indicated the potential for altered airbag deployments. This Ford testing program drew significant interest from not only the trade press, but mainstream publications as well, giving a boost to consumer awareness of this important issue. While our first round of testing had clearly shown the aftermarket copy parts studied were not like, kind, and quality, and would perform differently than genuine Ford crash parts in a subsequent collision, the critics called for actual crash tests to substantiate our findings, so back to the lab we went. We first put genuine Ford and aftermarket versions of the same Mustang bumper beam through a 6 mile per hour frontal impact sled test. And as you can see, the copy part failed to absorb energy like that of the Ford beam, crushing nearly flat on each end with deceleration and velocity measurements inconsistent with those of the OEM part. Next, we added corresponding OEM and aftermarket bumper absorbers and bumper isolators to the bumper beams and put the parts through 5 and 8 mile per hour full vehicle flat barrier crash tests using identical 2007 Mustangs. While the actual airbag systems were deactivated, the vehicles were outfitted with an accelerometer and other test equipment, and you can see the difference in the reactions of the two vehicles upon impact in this 8 mile per hour test. A visual comparison of the performance of the two bumper beams shows an obvious difference in the amount of damage sustained by the aftermarket copy part in this low-speed test, while a look at the data from the front accelerometer crash sensors also reveals a significant difference. Notice the OEM parts, represented by the blue line, caused a broad but gentle slope in the crash pulse, while the tested aftermarket parts, represented by the green line, caused a later, steeper slope in the crash pulse, which is interpreted by the system as a higher speed, higher energy impact. It's this difference in how the tested aftermarket bumper beam, absorber, and isolator absorb the crash energy that is likely to result in an increased number of unintended airbag deployments at low speeds. Let's remember, genuine Ford collision replacement parts are the same as those used to manufacture the vehicle. They are the only parts proven during the vehicle development process to deliver the intended level of protection as a whole system. Altering how those parts work together as a system can have a negative impact in a subsequent collision. A Ford vehicle safety system that deploys the airbags and pretensioners is calibrated for the structural characteristics of a Ford bumper beam. It's not just about being stronger or softer, it's about being the same so that you get the same performance from the total system. Making matters even worse, in these crash test comparisons, and for the consumer in the real world, are the damage estimates that followed. The cost to repair the Mustang using aftermarket copy parts after the 5-mile-per-hour crash was nearly $3,000, almost 2.5 times the cost for the vehicle with genuine Ford parts. And while the estimates following the 8-mile-per-hour test were a little closer, in crashes resulting in unwarranted deployment of both front airbags, the repair cost for the vehicle equipped with copy parts jumps to nearly double that of the Mustang with Ford parts. As we've said, the bumper beam, radiator core support, and other structural parts play a significant role in absorbing crash energy and ensuring the proper operation of the vehicle safety system as a whole. And while all Ford vehicles are required to pass a multitude of internal and governmental crash tests before they're sold to consumers, aftermarket copy parts have no such crash test requirements. Thanks for watching.